Hey guys, this is EggStarcraft, your source for amateur and casual level StarCraft gaming strategy. Um, this is going to be the first of. I decided I'm going to do a series. This is going to be the first of the series. I think I'm going to cover about 7 or 8 very fundamental aspects of the game. I'm sure I'll put in the description what those aspects are. Today we're going to be talking about building placement, and I feel like building placement is something that's very undervalued in a lot of lower level play, and it is so important. And I'm going to show you today why it makes such a big difference, and what you can do to make your building placement appropriate for your gameplay. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to have to speed it up a little bit because this game's a little bit more than 15 minutes. And unfortunately, Google or YouTube only lets me upload videos that are 15 minutes right now. If there's a way to make them longer, then you can post that. But it's pretty standard in the beginning. I have a 9 pylon to keep that flow. Actually, I'll slow it down now. This is good. I built a 10 gateway. This is because I find that a lot of Protoss these days are doing early rushes to try and counter the 4 gate. That's very common. The early rush would be coming from usually a 2 gate or 2 gate zealot or 1 gate zealot, even with just early pressure, and it's quite a strong build these days, so you could consider that. I went for a 14 assimilator. This is because I like to get gas. I like to use gas pretty heavily in my play. I use sentries, I use immortals. Again, I feel like they're great. So what's important about building placement? Well, there's a lot of things to consider. Building placement can help you hide buildings that you don't want your opponents to know about. This could be like tech buildings or even additional unit-producing buildings, so that if you plan on applying pressure that they don't know about. Now, they can also be dependent on the terrain, the map. Xel'Naga Caverns is a pretty standard map. I mean, there's nothing really that special about it. There's a line of sight blocker here with an entrance into your natural. You have the rocks here that you need to break down. Other than that, it's pretty basic. Yeah, but what's interesting is I found that even though this map is pretty basic, there's a couple crucial moments where building placement really changes the tide of the tide of the battle. So one thing I like to do is spread pylons around my base. That helps with vision of your base, and especially if you're fighting, Terran, you're definitely going to want to have vision of your entire base. Drops are becoming a lot more common, I find, in the games. People are becoming more comfortable with stim and being able to abuse it, so that's something you want to consider. So let's see what's going on here. Protoss, my enemy, Schizo Shift, he made a proxy pylon. I think he's going for a 4 gate or so. He gets an early Twilight Council, so he's going for a little bit delayed 4 gate, but it seems like he's getting warp gate tech. He doesn't have an expansion. He's going on 1 gas. I have a stalker out. All I have is 1 cybernetics core. I'm not chrono boosting my warp gate technology as fast, so he's going to have it a bit faster than me. It's really crucial that you kill this scouting probe that was just there before you make any changes to your standard opening. I killed it before I made my robos because I don't want him to know anything that changes my gameplay, anything that's going to be significant. So yeah, it's really important to get rid of that scout. So we see he's getting 2 additional gates. He's chronoing out his warp gate tech again. He wants it fast. He's getting a 2nd gas finally at 20. Right now I'm at 29, so I'm actually quite a bit ahead. I guess he's either been supply capped or not really effectively using his workers, or using chrono boost for his workers. I have a couple more stalkers. He actually doesn't have any units right now. This is something that's very common, and this is why the 1 gate zealot push is so crucial, or so not crucial, sorry, strong, because people usually don't get anything out until they have their warp gates, and that can be even delayed even further if they wait for this to go through, wait for the warp gates to change, and they don't make units till then. So I like to apply a little bit of stalker pressure in the beginning, especially if they only had 1 zealot on their ramp. You can pick away at that. You can see obviously we're pretty even here. I get an additional stalker. Now, all I see is that I try to move up the ramp because all I see is he has a gateway and a cybernetics core. I don't know if he's going to go for a 4 gate, but I see this, and I see how many pylons he has, and that kind of suggests that he's going for a 4 gate. I don't really like to go for 4 gate. I find it's kind of, I don't know. I don't feel as comfortable with it anymore. This is a gold level game, just so you know. And when you get into the higher levels, 4 gate really starts to its effectiveness is really going down. So I don't like to do it as much anymore. I prefer to go for 2-gate into a robo with this heavy gas opening. As for worker count right now, I'm pretty decent. Take a look at my enemy. He has around the same, so it's pretty good so far. He's warped in quite a few units now. He's gonna go for his push. It's a delayed 4-gate, but it's still pretty effective. So we see he's scouting down here to make sure I didn't do the same thing he did with the proxy pylon. And I lagged at some point here, and actually you'll see that I lagged and it sent my units out pretty far, and I do end up losing quite a lot of money here because of this. But what can you do? Sometimes you lag. And he's got blinking for his stalkers, and I see that my units are going to go down anyway, so I might as well turn around, do some damage. That's something you got to keep in mind. If you're being chased down by zerglings or you're being chased down by stalkers, especially because they're very fast, that sometimes it's better to just turn around and deal the damage, because it will save other units that were possibly rallied to it. It gives them more time to head back, and it's just more efficient, really. It prevents them from walking to your base and stuff like that. It's just better. Just do it. Just attack if you're gonna die anyway. So right now we see I'm at 48 out of 58, and he's at 48 out of 50. So he's a little bit supply capped, but as you can see, yeah, we're pretty even. Even though I lost all those units, I caught back up pretty quickly. And you don't even need that many gates really to catch back up, especially if you're going a heavy immortal, because they're 4 food, and they cost exactly twice the cost of a stalker. But yeah, okay. So it looks like he's going to be doing a little bit of a push here. He's got quite a few units. A lot of stalker. He's got actually zealots, and that's one thing that's important here. He has zealots and I don't, so that kind of makes things a little bit scary for my immortals. Immortals take. Well, the thing is, zealots' DPS is not affected by immortals, whereas stalker's DPS is, and yeah, it's kind of bad for me. So I don't think I know about this though yet. No, I suspect that he's out there, but I don't know that he's actually. So I'm just building up my forces. I'm getting a couple additional gateways, and a couple pylons, so I'm not supply capped. And we see he moves in here, and I know he has blink, so this could be an issue. And we take a look, and he pushes in with his zealots and sentries here to get vision. Then he blinks up his stalkers. Luckily, I blocked them off with the force field, and you can see this is my building placement, which is helping me right now, so my immortals can take out these stalkers, because that's what they're supposed to be doing. They're supposed to be attacking the armored units, and they do an amazing job of cleaning up these stalkers. And his zealots were completely blocked. His sentries were completely blocked. So this is really good for me. I didn't lose a lot of units. I mean, I'm at 57. What is he at? He's at 48, so he definitely went down a lot harder than I did. And he continues to build up zealots, because he believes that that's the best thing against my immortals. It's a pretty wise choice. He keeps them here to try and contain me a bit. He goes out for a zone. He's macroing up a little bit, building up his nexus and stuff like that. And as you can see, this is taking a lot of his. I guess he did rally up this stuff, so it shouldn't be taking too much of his macro. He's building more sentries, and here I come. I'm going to be chasing them down, and you're going to see this is a mistake that he made by making so many zealots. Zealots are actually quite slow, and there's a reason why stalkers are called stalkers, because you can see from this that they are able to catch up to these units, and I'll actually be able to take out quite a few units while I'm running. He should have ran back his units earlier. There's no point containing if your enemy has a stronger force than you do. You're just going to end up losing a lot of units, which he does, as you can see. And he again turns around, does what I said. Look how much time it actually gives his units to run. So that's actually really good. He builds more zealots. Zealots. I keep calling them zealots. Whatever. I'm going to call them zealots. That's going to be my thing. I call them zealots. Anyways, he's got 10 of them, and he has his nexus coming. He's got this probe not doing anything. That's not really a big deal. He has his 4 warp gates. You can see he's not building out his warp gates. He has the money. He's not really supply capped. He should be building out of these warp gates. But he's going to be saving up, and I guess, he's going to be building some cannons, transferring over these probes at a pretty good timing. But right now, I'm going to push in a little bit, and I'm going to see what he's got. At the moment, I see that. Oh no, I don't actually see a lot. I can just see that his forces are kind of zealot heavy, and I say, oh, there's a building over here, and again, some force fields go down, and we're able to take out a few zealots. And yep, I see it's a photon cannon, so I know that there's at least a pylon over there too. And this is where it's going to be a disadvantage to him. So if we consider the building placement that I was talking about before, what he's doing right now is he's walling off this area. He doesn't want me to. I guess he doesn't want me to rush in here with my units and come up and attack. But he knows I don't have blink, so that's not really ideal. This positioning is actually kind of bad for him, because if you consider his army composition, he has 7 zealots right now, which are a very heavy part of his. Let me finish this. So it's a very heavy part of his build. But what he's doing is zealots are actually most effective in open spaces. if you think about it, they need to get their surrounds on the stalkers. Their DPS is higher than the stalkers, almost double actually, and they need to have open spaces where they can surround, especially if my stalkers don't have blink, which they don't. And what he's doing right now is he's making a barricade. He's preventing his own movement, and it's actually going to be his demise. You'll see. So it's a pretty basic battle here. He force fields off a couple of my stalkers, which I could lose, so I instead turn around to try and attack and keep up the units lost equal to his. If we take a look, I'm still in the lead. He's lost more units than I have, and he really doesn't have a lot, and he continues to build zealots, and this is really, really not the best choice, especially since if you look, like, where are his units right now? His units are force fielded by his own buildings right now. Like, he can't move out, and you can see, look, he has to run, these units are running around. I drop a force field down, they're all blocked. My units are able to take this kind of stuff. Look, his army is split in two, and he's unable to do the effective DPS, and now these are all bunched up, and these are not doing anything. It's a mess for him. His own building placement screwed him over for this battle. Yes, my forces outnumbered his, but like if these zealots had been attacking the whole time, it would have been a very different battle. I would have probably been scared, backed up. I mean, a lot of these immortals don't have that much hit points on them. Like they're all pretty weakened, and some of my units are weakened. But like he's really just he's getting owned right now, and that's pretty much it. I think he GG's. Yeah. So there's the game. He doesn't GG, but that's pretty much all of it. You know, you want your building placement to complement your unit composition. You want to have your buildings working for you, if that makes sense. So I hope you guys learned something from this. Keep in mind where you're building your buildings, especially as Protoss. You know, you need to drop the pylon down. You need to have very specific building placement. If you're Terran, you can move things around a bit. And Zerg, they can move their spore crawlers and sunken colonies, whatever they're called this game. They can move them around a bit, but as Protoss, you definitely want to consider your building placement. So this is EggStarcraft signing out. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you later.